I am Talya Mehmet Esenzade from SPE BHS student chapter. Today we are on the 5th day of our career marathon event, and our guest speaker today is Aygul Salimova from BHOS company. She works currently as HR specialist there, and our topic will be effective communication, and she will share her great experience with us today. So one more request from you: if you have any questions, you can ask by opening your microphone or write your question to the chat box. I will be your moderator during the event, and I'm leaving the stage for Aygul Hanım. Aygul Hanım, you can share your presentations and we can start.
Okay. Hi, everybody. First of all, thank you for participating at this session. And Talya Hanım, thank you for inviting me. So we can start. Well, just a minute. My presentation. Okay. So, can you see it? Okay.
Yes, we can see it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, effective communication. First of all, what is it? So it is defined as a verbal speech or other communication methods to get your point. It sounds pretty simple, but it doesn't. So it's really how about we all interact and communicate in every aspect of our lives, and its ability to say something at the right time, and to be able to get multiple people on the same page if it's a group decision. So when I was on my last year at the university, I began to search a job or internship, any internship opportunity. And prior to my first interview, I was told an address to go. And upon arriving to the address, I couldn't find the location. And after 15 minutes of circling and looking for address, I discovered that the right address was actually down an alley and only had a number over the door. So no sign for actual company. And, the person that gave me those very unclear directions provided a bad experience for me. So as a recruiter, myself, I constantly provide potential candidates with the information about the job. And in order to do this, I also provide a picture of overall company, the group that they might be joining, and how their role fits in and impacts entire the company. So, and sometimes ago, my colleague told me that I've provided the clearest picture of company he has ever heard, and he has a positive experience in that, and also it was very positive feedback for me too. And I'm speaking about my previous experience. I have personally worked with several leaders who were masters of communication. One of them was a wonderful speaker. He could tell a great story and get everyone in the room engaged. And most of us would walk away feeling inspired and eager to help people we work with. And others were very skilled and at sharing a clear direction and job expectation, and I knew exactly what was expected from me and how to achieve my goals. So what I found is strong communication skills are incredibly helpful and critical in how well we perform at work. And next slide is why it is important. Of course, it's important at in different areas of our life. Mostly I will emphasize on work, but we'll have a brief look for personal relationships also. At work, we have better client relationships. We certainly want a great communicator to make strong communication presentation skills and to contribute the company and to get a positive feedback also from clients. And higher employee engagement means also it helps also, and it's critical if you're a leader or manager of people. Engaging and interactive communicator in leadership position also is wonderful for employees, as I previously told about my personal experience. Good communication skills also helps mitigate conflict, because good communicators, they are help resolve conflicts quicker and easier. And those without good communication skills can add confusion to the problem or to the discussion, because they are unable to articulate their thoughts and ideas clearly. And of course, it builds trust. You want to be able to trust who you work for and with. Effective communicators are good at establishing and building trust between people and groups. In personal relationship, it creates closeness, makes conflict okay. It's actually better to fight with your friend from time to time instead of never fighting, because we all have differences of opinion and points of view, and when we don't express it and bury it inside us by not communicating, it just comes out later and in more negative way. And provide support. It's nice to know that someone cares about you and supports you. Of course, you can also provide support to your friend or to your, let's say, partner. And expressing feelings. People who are not effective communicators tend to be not very good at expressing how they feel. So expressing feelings also needs some good communication skills. And of course, it eliminates mistrust, doubt, faithlessness, and insecurities. So many times this becomes out due to lack of communication. And if we speak about the ways of improving communication skills, there are many tips, tricks, and techniques. So I don't want to overwhelm you with too much information, just a brief focus on the things that you can really use in your career and personal life. So the first one is to listen. Probably most of you heard the saying that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. So being a good listener is half of being a good communicator. People who have ability to really listen to someone can then actually answer their questions in a meaningful way. And if we don't make any effort to actively listen, then we're really doing ourselves and the other person a disservice. So know the person is waiting for you to listen and then to answer to his question clearly. And listen to someone completely and should be comfortable with short periods of silence, of course. So it would be better if we can work on our listening skills at first. Then the second one is know your topic. It might sound an obvious statement, but sometimes we get surprised because people speaks about any topic and then don't know details and cannot answer some questions regarding this topic. So prepare, do some research, read, Google, and you can even share your feelings about a certain issue. So this is probably one of the most important tips for effective verbal communication. The third one is know your audience. Knowing your audience is another critical component to have strong communication skills. And the way we interact with our manager should be different than we interact with our friend. It doesn't mean that we should be a different person with everyone who we interact with, but here we should be careful with choice of words and body language while we interact with our boss and while we interact with our friend. Next one is minimize. We shouldn't overwhelm others with a lot of words. And the goal of talking or communicating with someone is to share actual information, and the goal is not to confuse someone, but to provide clarity in many cases. So state what needs to be stated. That will be great. And the final critical component is body language, of course, for workplace also, but it is something that most of you probably have heard before, but I think to remind it about it. And the best rule is to have open body language at workplace whenever it's possible. This means relaxing posture, not crossing your arms, and looking people in the eye when speaking with them. And when we're speaking in front of others, it would be good if we can stand up straight and speak in a clear voice. This will show confidence in your words. Of course, this is the last slide of my presentation, but I would like to give some tips about how to communicate at interview. Probably we will have such kind of questions, so I will start. And we should, if you're at job interview or internship interview, it's good to match your communication style to the interviewer. If interview is very business-like, then you should respond in a similar way. Try to avoid jokes and funny stories. The interviewer should be the one who sets the tone of the interview, not the candidate. Of course, a good interviewer will attempt to put a candidate at ease, to make him relax, but don't interpret this as trying to be, as he or she trying to be your friend. Always treat the job interview as a professional meeting. Don't talk too much. The clear answers to the questions are very good in this case. And of course, avoid interrupting the interviewer, and make sure they have finished speaking before you respond. And you can do this allowing the pause before you start speaking. And take a little time to think about the question rather than rushing to answer. And this also will help you to organize your thoughts and prevent verbal fillers such as and and like. The next one, I think, probably you know it. It is to avoid jargon and acronyms. And the last one, as I mentioned previously, be aware of interviewers' body language. I'm telling you a secret of recruiters. If you see that the interviewer appears confused or distracted, it will quickly tell you that you are not getting your message across properly. So this is what I wanted to say. If we can start the question session, that will be great.
Okay. Aygul, I have firstly one question. So it's one of the interview questions that what's the way of dealing with the conflicts? So what do you expect from us as the answers?
As the dealing,
good, let's say good answers.
Good answers. It was some interview that I was participating, and the same question was addressed to me. I think the best way to answer is, first, it's not avoid conflict, because if conflict appears, it doesn't mean that it is bad. It's not a bad sign. Conflict appears there where it is some differences in views or points. So I think it would be better to answer like, I would listen both of sides, and then make some research or investigation of what both sides told me, and then we'll see how to mitigate it with not offending one of the sides. Just to bring them together, to work on their maybe mistakes or their miscommunication, because most of the conflicts appears because of miscommunication and misunderstanding.
Okay, thank you, Aygul Hanım. We'll continue with Afak's question. If someone doesn't want to listen what we are trying to explain, So how to make him or her be more motivated or interested in our speech, especially in teamwork?
Probably you've seen that our teachers trying to look right in our eyes when we're distracted at the lesson. So it is the first thing that we can do, to look at the person. We can also ask him a question, what he or she thinks about the topic that we're discussing. Get his opinion and ask him to share his point of view. Sometimes that person can offer a very interesting way, which also deserves to be discussed.
Okay, I think it's clear. And then Ferman Mikelzade, I would like to say that thanks for great presentations. Thank you too. Ramiz Hüseyinzade, are soft skills evaluated equally with technical skills when reviewing candidates for an internship?
This is a very good question, because for us, for recruiters, the interview of employee and interview of intern, as well as volunteer, a bit differs. Because for interns, we check more soft skills, as our participants said, because we check ability to learn, willingness of person to contribute to the company, and mostly we're asking questions about their academical background and their work and contribution to the teams they work and projects they participated. So for interns and volunteers, it's mostly we check their soft skills, because they have or they doesn't have any work experience.
Aygul, I want to ask one question. Is Russian language its most required language? Let's say when we compare with the English one in BHOS company.
In BHOS, not. No. So we have some. Of course, the first requirement is to know your mother language, Azerbaijani language, excellent, because we deal with Azerbaijani companies mostly and with international companies. So Azerbaijani and English language are most required languages at BHOS. And some positions require knowledge of English, very well knowledge of English. But no, Russian is not priority.
Okay. Afa Kashimova again. How to start conversation with boss or manager, or with someone at higher position than us?
Okay, good question. I can share my personal experience. I'm just asking if I can, if he or she is okay to speak. And then I'm trying to ask my question. So, for me, it's easy, because I'm a person who likes to communicate with others. So for me, there is no differences between my colleagues and my manager. I can easily communicate with both of them. But of course, first we should ask if he or she is okay, if they have a time for us. So I think this is like this.
Let's continue. Orhan Salmanov, can you explain what means minimize? I think Orhan means that in the presentation part, minimize.
Minimize, we can speak a lot of things, like I said, with audience or with our friends, but the main point, the main information, it is an actual information, and it's better to share it and not to fill our information with lots of words and distract the attention from the core point that we should talk to our listeners.
Okay. What if interviewer ask some hypothetical question? How to communicate in this situation?
Hypothetical, it means not real.
Yeah, I think yes. Or if you want, Ali, you can clarify us.
Yes, please. That would be great.
Thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank
And
you.
yes, some kind of philosophy questions or some kind of logics, like just to wrap, if because interviewer are more experienceable person than us, and then, sometimes he or she want to just distract us in our communication, so he or she can ask hypothetical question during the interview. So what should be our reaction, like, kind of?
In most cases, these questions are asked to check your communication skills. So I think it's a free topic. You can share your opinion on that question. Relaxed way, because it's not a technical question that you should answer right. There is no right or wrong answer to this question. So you can share your opinion. As I said, it's mostly done for checking your communication skills.
I think we can continue. Ferman Mikhailzadeh, can we wait for any opportunity from BHOS Shelf for this year? He means internship.
Yeah, I get it. Some differences, and there are some differences in internship programs at BHOS Shelf, because it is conducted from the side of our training department, and BHOS Shelf is signing contract with the university. Like last year, it was Oil Academy and Technical University. And it's not like we post any advertisement about internship and then we are collecting CVs from students or interns. It's like how to say. It happens upon the contract between BHOS Shelf and university. So last year it was like our training team selected 100 students from Oil Academy and Technical University, and then they examined them. It was testing, and upon the results of this testing, they selected 50 applicants, and then at the last stage, I was at interviews as well, and we select 20 students, interns for BHOS Shelf. They are paid. The internships are paid. The program is for 6 months. Each month, the intern spends his time or her time at different department, and at the end of the month, the line manager of department is evaluating his interns, and at the end of the 6 months, we identified the highest score of the intern, and then offer him a junior position at that department. So this is our program. This year, unfortunately, I don't have any information yet, because I will be informed at the last stage when it becomes for an interviews.
And Aygul Khan, what about the positions in internship? So only petroleum related interns, or are there any other options?
It's mostly technical positions. So it can be, as I said, from Technical University, we have 2 fresh graduates that are right now interns. So it can be not only petroleum, but mostly technical students, technical profile students, because mostly we are majoring in construction. So this will be also helpful for students. to get some knowledge from our work.
Okay. Ahmadov Jasur, if you disagree with someone's opinion, how can you express your thoughts so that if it doesn't affect anyone's personality?
You know, you can. We have such thing. Probably you've heard about it, sandwich feedback. I also use it in discussion. Firstly, I kind of agree with what my colleague or any team member is saying. Like I say that, well, you're right on some things, but I think that this part of your thoughts can be different, or I think different, and I'm telling what I'm actually thinking about that. So if you don't want to offend someone, I think you should like discuss with him in proper way, and you should agree with him at some point. Then he will listen to you, because he will feel that his opinion is right, or his opinion is valuable for you, that you have listened and you've agreed with part of his sayings.
Okay. Andrea, what about the question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? The recruiter wants to hear from us the fact that we will work in that company for more than 5 years, or is just a normal question about our future plans in general?
Of course, it's a general question, and no one expects you to work somewhere for 5 years. Of course, you can, but it's not mandatory. So you can just share your thoughts for your future. It's also useful to check your ambitions for future. So this is mostly general question, and recruiters doesn't think that you will answer, no, I will stay here at the same position for 5 years and I'm ready to work here for 20 years. So this is the mostly general question about your future plans and how you will see yourself in the future.
Okay. Ferman Mikelzadeh, if interviewer asks any questions, how can we answer that?
Any questions about what?
So, for example, at the end of the interview, some interviewers ask then, do you have any questions? So how can we answer these kind of questions?
You know, you can prepare a list of the questions that you would like to know about the company, about the position. It's a good opportunity to ask these questions then. And you can ask whatever you want about you know, at the previous seminar, I heard that some guy asked about how can I ask the question about the salary. I would like to add that you know, it's an important part because but in most cases recruiters and HR asks it beforehand. I also ask person what is his salary expectations, just to identify and not to waste time of company and not to waste time of the applicant if it doesn't fit to our offer.
But what about if we say, so for example, so let's say the range is 1,000 manat, and we say less than or more than this value. So in this case, you will accept the candidates who say less than or more than?
You know, it depends on the position, it depends on the range, it depends on the experience of applicant. So there are more than 2 points for taking into account these things when we're selecting applicant. First of all, of course, we will select that applicant who holds much experience and much knowledge for this position. And then we will take into account the salary expectation. But if the difference is very high, of course, then applicant will not be happy. So
let's continue. What's the biggest fear you had during communications? I think this question is addressed to you, and how you overcome that fear.
Oh, my fear. Public speech. Public speech is very difficult thing. My first time at the university, we have some courses for public speech. It helped me much for overcoming. We all can be nervous because public speech is something different than sitting and discussing something face to face. Just it is all about exercising and learning some tips, like some breathing exercises also before public speech. That much helps.
Then Ramiz Hüseyinzade, why BHOS Shelf doesn't have such contract with ASOIU UFAS? I think he meant the internship program.
Yeah, we had it last year. For this year, I can discuss this with our training department and we'll share the information with you, Talia Hanım, because actually, as I told, I don't know about the contract for this year, and I will get some information, make some research, and we'll be back to you.
Okay. I think it's the last question for today. Alekbarov. Firstly, thanks for the session. You mentioned about internship, but what about any entry-level position for fresh graduates in engineering field? Would be any opportunities this year? And if yes, how can we apply for it? Thanks in advance.
Okay, I told about applying. So this is a kind different process. Yes. And entry-level position for engineering. We are working on the huge project, huge international projects. So there is almost no entry-level position because we need experienced people who work at engineering department. But as I said, we have some data input clerks at the same department like engineering. So we prefer to promote them for entry-level positions at engineering because at least they have information about this sphere and the job that our high-level engineers are doing. So the only way is internship, but it also kind of difficult because I understand that most students want to apply, but there are some restrictions. But I promise I will get any information about that and we'll share with Talia Hanım and she will share
and
with
also
you.
I will share with you. Ramiz Hüseyinzade again, and I think it's the last question for today. Is Young Talents program in BHOS Shelf still active? Is there a way to apply it?
Yeah, so I told about that, and because of the contract, we cannot accept applications from students which send their CVs to our email addresses. But certainly, I will research on that and maybe make an offer just to advertise for an internship program to select the best students. So wait for me.
Okay. Let's end our session. So firstly, Aygul Hanım, I want to thank you very much because you the first one in this career marathon, you accept our invitation and took your time for us. Thank you very much, also dear participants. You were with us today, and also it's the second session of today. Thank you to all, and enjoy. Goodbye.
Thank you very much, Talia Hanım, for inviting me. Thank you to participants, and I wish you good luck in your future career. Stay safe and healthy.
Goodbye, Aygul Hanım.
Bye. Thank you.